everyone, this is me Teacher Ali and welcome back to my channel. Before we continue, don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more videos. For today's video, we will talk about the elements of the short story. Before we continue, what is a short story? Short story is a narrative shorter than a novel. We all know that novel is composed of different chapters, while this one, short story, is a thing known as a story that can be read in one sitting. May be written in mode of fantasy, realism, or naturalism. Dealing with few characters, a short work of fiction. So when we say short story, it can be realistic, fantasy, or naturalism. Okay, so let's start with the first element known as the character. Characters are agents of action. So they are the one who make an action in a story in order for the reader to understand the story well. On the other hand, we have that thing called the characterization. Characterization is a method of projecting the characters. It's either mataray, mabait, etc. Next, we have kinds of characters. So what are the kinds or types of characters? Major characters are known as the protagonist. Protagonist is the central character, admirable character who embodies certain human ideas. When we say protagonist, it is considered as the main character or most important of all characters. It is the character who learns something or undergoes one's changes throughout the course of the story. Some stories depict the protagonist as the hero of the story, while the other stories, the protagonist is not considered as a hero as he has done nothing heroic. In any case, the story always revolves around the protagonist known as the bida. Another one is the antagonist. Antagonist provides some sort of contest or opposition for the protagonist. On the other hand, when we say antagonist, it is the character that challenges the main character. It has no concern for the well-being of the main character. The antagonist may be a person, the nature, the society, or any intangible matter that contends with or creates a problem for the protagonist. Next, the minor characters. Minor characters are known as the confidant. Confidant is a character to whom the protagonist and another characters reveal his reflection of pose. Moreover, it is the sidekick of the protagonist. Next is the foil, a character who provides a striking contrast to another character. Ito naman yung parang kakampi ng antagonist. And the third one is the stock, a character who shows qualities of a national, social, or occupational group to which he belongs. So this character shows what kind of culture he or she belongs to. So those are the different minor characters: the confidant, the foil, and the stock. Let us now proceed with the character according to the fullness of development. So we have different characters na nagbabago. For example, sa una, siya ay mahirap tapos biglang yumaman throughout the story. So first is that thing called the plot. Simply depicted stock, characterized by one or two traits that can be summed in one sentence. The second one is the character, three-dimensional, complex, many-sided, with full developed personality. Okay, when we say flat character, those are the characters that doesn't change. Hindi sila nagbabago throughout the story. Sila yung halimbawa, mahirap sila sa una hanggang sa dulo ng story, mahirap pa rin sila. Those are the flat character. While the round character, ito na yung example ko kanina, those who made changes. For example, ayun nga, mahirap sila tapos bigla silang yumaman. Next, characters according to changes undergone. Does not change. The same sort of person from the beginning to end. So, kagaya lang siya ng plot, hindi siya nagbago. Dynamic undergone a permanent change in some aspect of his personality. When you say dynamic, those are the characters na maaaring mabait sa una, tapos sa dulo, bigla siyang magiging masama. Let us proceed with the direct characterization. We defined characterization earlier na yun yung kinakarakterize nila, yun yung nire-represent ng behaviors. When we say direct characterization, the author shows a character by describing his or her appearance, thoughts, or action. The direct characterization simply means that the author tells the readers to imagine the physical appearance of the character itself. For example, is it handsome, beautiful, ugly, or what? As well as thoughts or action. While indirect characterization, the author tells directly what a character is. So dito sinasabi agad what type of character is that being presented. Okay, the second element of a short story is that thing called the setting. Setting is known as the locale and period in which events occur. It may be based on a real place and real time, or it may also be considered where the action is taking place. Most authors use descriptive words to describe the landscape, the scenery, buildings, season, or weather to provide a strong sense of setting which will help the reader visualize the story and connect to the story's plot. So, setting is one of the more important thing of the element for the reader to imagine the place, the scenery, where the story happens. It talks about the place, time, a historical, atmosphere, and mood. So what are the functions of setting? To create a mood or atmosphere, to show a reader a different way of life, to make actions seem more real, to be the source of conflict or struggle, and to symbolize an idea. Okay. So third element is that thing called the plot. So plot is a series of related events. When we say plot, it is the actual story. It is what the story is all about. It is also the series of events and characters, actions that lead to the highest point of interest in the short story. Plot is known as the framework or skeleton of the story. We have the basic structure of plot. First is the exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. Okay, so let us proceed with kinds of plot. We have three kinds of plots. Okay, when we say man in a hole, the main character gets into trouble then gets out again, or the protagonist finds something wonderful, loses it, then get back it again at the end. The second kind of plot is man in a tub. So this type of plot involves two important factors. First, there must be an uninstructed and usually an unordinary event. Then, second is a realization of insights from the experience of such event. Third is man on a road. When we say man on a road, some short stories achieve the unifying effect through a single character journeying through life, encountering various struggles or stages of adventures and growth. This type of plot tends to be episodic, but because of all the events happen to the same person, unity is established. Next is conflict. Conflict is a struggle between opposing forces. So these are the struggles that happen in the story. We have different kinds of conflict. The first one is the internal conflict, known as the man versus himself. It is the conflict between man within himself. For example, he or she is not agree with his or her decision, or yung maguguloy isip. Or internal conflict can also be a conflict in which a character has different personalities. Moreover, we have the external conflict that comes out with the man versus man, the man against another man, and man versus nature, the man or the protagonist is being or has a conflict with the nature, followed by the man versus society. For example, the protagonist is not agree with the government policy. Man versus God, man versus technology, and man versus supernatural. Next, we have point of view. When we say point of view, it is the angle of narration. So this is the way a story is told or narrated. It is also known as the vantage point that a writer uses to narrate the story. The following are the types of point of view. First person point of view, the narrator is a character in the story narrating the actions. Usually it uses the pronoun I. The author is also the narrator. That is the first person point of view. Next is the third person point of view. Commonly uses pronouns such as he, she, they. Under the third person point of view, we have the third person objective. The narrator tells the story without describing any character's thoughts and feelings. And the third person limited is the narrator is all knowing about the thoughts and feelings of the characters. In the third person objective, the author or the narrator is not describing the thoughts and feelings of the character, while on the third person limited, he knows about the thoughts, the feeling of the character. And the third person omniscient, the narrator is knowing about thoughts, feelings of the character. On the third person omniscient, the narrator is all-knowing about the thoughts and feelings of the characters. Next, we have the second person point of view. The story is told from the point of view of the reader, indicated by the use of you. That's all for now. Thank you for watching.